I want to welcome our witnesses from the Department of Veterans Affairs and the Disabled American Veterans. Today we're going to discuss the Beneficiary Travel Service System, or BTS-3. This effort began in 2019 to automate veterans' travel, reimbursements, and eliminate improper payments using a new web-based system. I'm sure the idea made perfect sense and looked good on paper. But in reality, VA blindsided millions of veterans with a complicated and confusing new process. Training was minimal, and user testing was limited to a small group of VA employees. Without warning, the department deactivated and then removed the popular VetLink kiosk from most of its facilities. Veterans have been successfully using the kiosk for years, but veterans struggle with the new website, and they continue to struggle with it today. I'm proud to represent one of the most rural districts in this country. Montana veterans travel long distances to receive the health care they have earned. I routinely hear from my constituents about the frustrations with the new systems and the struggles to get reimbursed on time, if at all. As a result of these problems, most veterans are relying on the paper travel reimbursement form, and a huge claims backlog developed that took several years to work down. We've seen this movie time and time again, unfortunately. VA undertakes an ambitious IT modernization project to revamp a business process, but it fails because it isn't developed with the user in mind. And veterans who rely on the system to manage their health or finances are the ones that get hurt. In this particular situation, BTS-3 caused confusion and frustration for veterans across America who count on receiving travel reimbursements when their VA medical appointments are not available close to home, which, based on the $2 billion a year expense associated with this program, is quite often. Maybe another opportunity to expand local health care delivery, but that's an argument for another day. This project has been a glaring example of poor planning, misunderstanding of veterans' needs, and general dysfunction. According to the Office of Inspector General's report, the system is a long way from meeting any of its goals. The contract was signed 8 years ago, but as of last year, only 34% of travel reimbursement claims were being submitted electronically. 8 years. That is far below the goal of 80%. The project was supposed to simplify the entire travel reimbursement process by auto-adjudicating 90% of the claims. But as of last year, the system was only able to auto-adjudicate about 40%. Veterans submit about 6 million travel reimbursement claims every year. A majority of those claims have to be keyed into the BTS-3 system manually. Worse, the software is completely unable to auto-adjudicate travel reimbursements for community care, so 100% of those claims have to be manually reviewed. More than 4 years after the system was rolled out, the VA still does not have a good solution for that. VA actually had to add about 140 more employees to process the travel claims manually. The project's budget started at $11 million, which is modest compared to Oracle or the supply chain modernization. But I understand now that it's doubled. The budget does not seem to include all the additional expense from the extra staffing and rework. And it surely doesn't account for all the veterans' frustration and wasted time. I expect clear answers from our witnesses about the path forward. Despite several years of software updates, the BTS-3 system is still too difficult to log into, too slow to load, and too confusing to navigate. We learned that the VA is planning to fold it into VA.gov soon. Given the difficulties that other parts of the VA.gov have experienced recently, that consolidation needs to be handled very carefully. Now that the VA has shown that the kiosk can be integrated with BTS-3, we need to see an orderly plan to reintroduce the kiosk where the veterans want them. Most of all, we need to know that any further changes to this system and the travel reimbursement process will be tested by real veterans and clearly communicated before anything gets pushed out. We cannot allow another VA IT project, even a relatively small project, to escape scrutiny while it burns through taxpayers' dollars and undermines veterans' care. Once again, I want to thank our witnesses for joining us today. We will now proceed to questioning, and I will recognize myself for 5 minutes to kick this off. Mr. Williams, is the BTS-3 system working as it ought per the contract requirements?
Thank you, Chairman, for the question. So I will get this started, and then I'll pass to Ms. Lee, as it is an OINT managed contract for the design and sustainment of the system.
Could you bring your microphone just a bit closer to your mouth, please?
Yes, sir. Better?
A little bit.
I'll speak up. How about that?
Thank you.
Yes, sir. So the system is working as designed currently. And I don't have issues, and I feel that
You say it is acting as per the contract requirements?
it is operating as designed from the VHA perspective.
Is it acting as per the contract requirements?
I will have to defer to Ms. Lee for that to answer
Thank
that
you.
question.
Yes, the system is acting as required by the contract. The system was developed based on the requirements that the government gave to the contractor.
So the contract requirements allow for 40% of these claims to be adjudicated, and the goal that you said is 80%, and the contract literally allows for only 40% of this to be done? If that is the case, then we've got a serious procurement problem here. So is that the case? The contract allows for a complete inefficiency, ineffectiveness?
I will need to take that for the record because I do not know the details of the exact contract.
Well, then please don't comment, okay? When I ask, is it functioning as per the contract requirements if you don't know what the contract requirements are? I don't know is acceptable, but find the answer out for me, please.
Will do.
Thank you very much. Mr. Williams, how much has the VA spent on this project, including the contract and any other costs to date?
Sir, I'll defer to Ms. Lee on that as well.
Ms. Lee,
To
go ahead.
date, the estimated amount spent is $36 million.
Excuse me?
$36 million from the
Okay,
time the
$36
project's-
million. Does that include all the extra staffing, the 140 staff that have been placed on as well?
That includes, that's the cost for the IT system. I would have to pass to my VHA cohorts for the VHA costs associated.
Okay, so we've got 36 million for the software program itself, where that does not, am I assuming, that does not include the additional expense for the 140 extra staff?
That's correct.
Okay, and we originally were supposed to be at $11 million, correct?
That's correct.
Okay, so quick math, four-function calculator. You're already 3 times what the original cost was estimated to be, and it's only doing 40% of what it was supposed to, correct?
For the automation portion, yes. For the record, I would also add that one of the really great benefits has been the associated improper payments that 5 years ago was at 25%.
I see that, and as a matter of fact, I was looking at those numbers, and while it is at, in 2019, it was 18.79%. In 2021, it was almost 14%, and now we've got it down to 6.83%. That sounds like a really great achievement. The problem is, in 2021, it was 123 million, and in 2023, that 6.8% translates into 120 million. So don't stretch your arm patting yourself on the back, okay? You save $3 million. Percentages are very attractive, but dollars are what this committee is concerned with.